of the simplest things in cinema, a door, a window, or even a staircase, can carry incredible meaning. Filmmakers in history have had the ability to give everyday objects key narrative significance. In the same way that doors have been used as a visual shorthand for isolation, loneliness, and voyeurism, staircases have been used to convey attention-getting stairway scenes, some on staircases so long they barely seem real, like the famed designer Escher's never-ending one. Staircases can represent power. Those at the top are often considered to be powerful, while those at the bottom are powerless. Others can be simply demonstrating character.
Sing, sweet nightingale, sing, sweet nightingale.
In Joker, it's Joaquin Phoenix's title character doing a bonkers dance on stairs in the Bronx, in a scene so iconic that the location was a pre-COVID clogged tourist attraction. In Parasite, the recent multi-award-winning South Korean film, it's a never-ending series of staircases that the film's central characters descend during a torrential downpour. The Parasite sequence comes during the movie's climax as an impoverished family desperately races from the luxurious home of their wealthy employers down multiple flights of stairs to their subterranean home, which is being flooded with sewage. Staircases, like bridges, almost always function as a metaphor for a space that is in between two worlds. In this case, a world of privilege and a world of poverty. And the lengthy sodden Parasite scene forces us to descend, along with the family, from a carefree world into a world without hope. Its Oscar-winning director called the project a staircase movie. Using this as the overall motif that runs through the entire film, he created both the Parks and the Kim's homes from scratch, built on outdoor lots. The director must, or might, have been thinking of a sequence in the 1927 Seventh Heaven, a silent American film, when he mapped out his scene in Parasite. This one creates a metaphor that's the exact opposite of Parasite. A man who works in a sewer rises all the way from ground level to his apartment, a haven on top of a tall building. It all happens in one take that helped the director win his Oscar, the first given for direction. And if you haven't seen the stunningly beautiful and imaginative Grand Budapest Hotel, you might wish to revel in scenes of this Hotel de Luxe story set in a spa town in Central Eastern Europe. I was lost in the charming, nostalgic, complicated world of Monsieur Gustave, the hotel's fastidious concierge, played with great humor by Ralph Fiennes. Monsieur Gustave's world not only mirrors the troubled history of the era, but also subtly echoes the luminous settings of La Belle Époque. Standing in for the Grand Budapest Hotel itself is an abandoned Art Nouveau department store in Görlitz called Görlitzer Warenhaus. Director Wes Anderson found the space while location scouting for the movie and promptly fell in love with its unique historical architecture. The exquisite stairways, elevators, and atrium of the building, which are all put to wonderful use. So what do staircases represent in film? Well, a lot of things. In Rocky, they represent an underdog overcoming an obstacle, feeling triumphant that all of his hard work has paid off. In Sunset Boulevard, they represent the status of a faded, silent-era Hollywood star, descending from on high to greet the commoners, the paparazzi, below.
The dream she had clung to so desperately had enfolded her.
I can't go on with the scene. I'm too happy.
In the stunning, unforgettable 1925 Russian film, Battleship Potemkin, they represent the unfair battle between an oppressive government and the proletariat, with troops bearing down on the fleeing masses, guns and bayonets in hand. A baby's pram tottering down each step along the masses facing the trigger. There are plenty of other films from which to draw examples, but the metaphors in the imagery aren't too difficult to come up with. Staircases connect the bottom floor to the next floor, and in the same way, they metaphorically connect individuals or demonstrate the obstacle ahead. You know that classic shot of a character looking up at all of the flights of stairs they have left to climb. They can show enlightenment. When a character reaches the next level intellectually, stairs could serve as a good vehicle to represent that. You saw this in the final scene in The Truman Show.
Truman. You can speak. I can hear you. Who are you? I am the creator of a television show that gives hope and joy and inspiration to millions.
And directors and studios aren't shy in coming forward with staircase in the title. Witness The Stairs, The Staircase, Dark at the Top of the Stairs, Staircase Murders, People Under the Stairs, and I bet you can add to this lofty list. But what set me on the stairways in film's search was Anthony Minghella's 1999 film, The Talented Mr. Ripley, When Tom is endeavoring to hide from the police after the murder of his wealthy friend Dickie, who he has murdered and has taken over his identity some time before, he runs up a lofty apartment staircase in Rome and listens to conversations taking place in the lobby below. Minghella, as I see it, plays homage to director René Clément's first Ripley film, Plein Soleil, which came out in 1960 with Alain Delon as Ripley, Minghella reprising the scene step by step.
Signor Grilli! Se regolamenti, signor Grilli?
Certo.
Allora mi dia, supporterò io.
Most of Alfred Hitchcock's films feature staircase, and several of them are filmed in quite dramatic ways to drive the plot or emphasize the film's themes. There is a moment in Frenzy in which the camera steadily plans away, as if in horror, from a stairway in a house where a murder is being carried out. Stairways figure prominently from different angles, including top-down and bottom-up in Vertigo. The idea of the staircase as a spiral appears in quite a few Hitchcock films like The Lodger. One wonders if Hitchcock had as much of a fetish for staircases as he did for women with blonde hair. Although the interest might have been sparked by his admiration for German expressionist films like the 1920 silent horror film The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, which features some amazing staircases that help to highlight a character's mental illness. Psycho, 1960, shows the terrified Martin Balsam after an old woman pushes him down a rickety staircase. It might not seem like anything special anymore, but the scene still works and remains memorable. It's one of two moments in the movie in which a big-name star suddenly disappears long before we expected them to. You know the other one. When Balsam, as an investigator trying to figure out what's happening at the Bates Motel, climbs those stairs, it's almost as if he's bridging the gap between reason and insanity. The staircase in the film Titanic was more than just a film set. It was a legitimate oak staircase made in Mexico for the film and built to withstand a lot of wear and tear and water. Gone with the Wind, the 1939 Oscar-winning film with an American Civil War background, has many key moments on the grand staircase that seems to occupy about half of Tara. our protagonists tripping up and down in differing clothing and moods. When Rhett Butler, drunk as a skunk, belligerently confronts Scarlett O'Hara about her undying love for Ashley Wilkes, he carries her up the iconic red-carpeted staircase to their bedroom. Sometimes the sequences and staircase scenes go astray in the editing room, such as the one in the famed 1927 Fritz Lang German film Metropolis. When two characters, Freder and Rotwang, leave Rotwang's laboratory to observe Maria's secret meeting place, they descend a spiral staircase that spirals clockwise. When they reach the bottom of the stairs, they are seen descending a spiral staircase that spirals counterclockwise. This is repeated when Freder uses the same staircase later in the film. A Matter of Life and Death, 1946, has possibly the granddaddy of all staircases which David Niven finds himself on. Technically, it's somewhere between a staircase and an escalator, which is a whole nother list, led perhaps by the amazing escalator shootout in Carlito's Way.
Lincoln. No, it's hardly fair to drag him in. I don't believe he'd be prejudiced.
But this one earns recognition because it connects this world with the next, literally a staircase to heaven, peopled with some of humanity's all-time greats.
He might be too old to think love important.
You think so? Anyhow, Plato had very elementary ideas about love.
Besides, didn't he quote Sophocles when somebody asked him if he was still able to appreciate a woman?
What did the old boy say?
Well, he said, I'm only too glad to be rid of all that. It's like escaping from bondage to a raving madman.
These Greeks, cold as their marble. Now, if he had been French, Richelieu, for example, irresistible at 80. How about Richelieu?
I never liked him much in the Three Musketeers.